Fighting cancer is not an easy thing. Whether you're fighting it yourself or you're helping someone get through that journey, whatever the outcome. I had the pleasure of speaking with Iliana, who is a breast cancer survivor. Had a double mastectomy, and you don't know where this journey will take you. You don't know if you'll be alive at the end of it. Ili walks you through her journey and how she was able to shape her mindset along with her spirit as a mother for her kids to be as strong as possible to deal with this diagnosis and to come out alive at the end of this journey. She is nothing short of amazing. She is nothing short of a stoic warrior. Ili, thank you for blessing me with your time, your story. All right, let's get started with the show. But right before we do, we are sponsored by Cimi Consulting. Ready to take your nonprofit to the next level? Cimi Consulting specializes in empowering organizations like yours with tailored fundraising strategies, dynamic board development, whether you're looking to enhance your donor engagement, train your leadership team, or execute unforgettable events. We've got you covered. At Cimi Consulting, we're passionate about helping you achieve your mission and create lasting impact. Let's build a brighter future together. Visit cimiconsulting.com, CIMI consulting.com. Get started today with maximizing your fundraising impact.
Dice, yeah, ay, ay.
Welcome for another episode of FYI I Am Damaged, a home where the healed, healing, and others share their wisdom. I am joined by Iliana Carmon-Cabral. Thank you for joining me.
Hi, Oscar. Thank you for having me.
I know there's some hesitation. I know you said you feel a little bit anxious. It's your first interview podcast, and
Yes.
Thank you for giving me your time. And we are here to discuss you being if you have another name to go by, a breast cancer survivor.
That's what I am. I'm a
Okay.
breast cancer survivor. Yes.
Okay. I know you're a little bit pressed for time. We're all family people, so we'll just jump right into it.
Yes.
If you're good with that. You know what? Let's not jump right into it. How we know each other. You are the wife of Franco Cabral, who is one of the creators of Forgive to Live.
Yes.
And I've met you through him. Off the bat, realize you're a very special person. He would say he and my wife, they're more in tune as personalities, and you and I are more in tune to our personality. Like, we're kind of like the same and everything.
Yes.
And I guess a little more down to earth, reserved, and
Yes. More introverted.
Yes.
Maybe more quiet. Not meaning we don't have important things to say, but just maybe it takes us a little more to get comfortable with people to
always thinking.
express ourselves. Yes.
Yeah. But when we let it out, we let it out.
That's right. Yep.
All right, let's get into it. Can you share your story and initial reaction when you were diagnosed with breast cancer and how you coped with that moment?
Yes. So my story is I was scheduled to have a mammogram my first mammogram in March of 2020. And that got canceled because of COVID. That was the beginning. So towards the end of 2020, I felt something on my chest. I had an appointment with my doctor in December, I want to say. And so she felt it and she said, it feels like it's your bone. I don't think that's anything, but you're due for a mammogram anyway. we will schedule this. It was scheduled for the beginning of January. Forgive me if I mess up timelines here.
No,
'cause
good,
I
good.
just realized this all might have happened in the beginning of January. So I went in, I had mammogram, sonogram, beginning of January, and they said there is something suspicious there, so you need a biopsy. I had the biopsy and was waiting for those results. And so Franco, my husband, he had a trip he was taking for work, part of the personal development program that he was part of at that time. And so he flew out. And so we said, okay, we're not going to cancel trips based on the unknown.
Right.
You know, if we don't know what the results are, you go on your trip. And so my doctor called on a Friday night, and I was by myself in the house with the kids. And it was witching hour, so it's like 6 p.m. And I get this phone call, and she said, you know, I'm just going to let you know, it is cancer. You know, it's breast cancer. And she said, you are going to be okay. She said, you're going to have a really shitty year, but you're going to be okay. And I said, okay. And I had to put it away because I still had to give my kids dinner and get them bathed and get them to bed. And so I called Franco and I let him know. And he asked if he should come home. And I said, no, I don't think you have to come home. And I'm still, I think, in a state of shock. And then I'm getting the kids ready, and then it slowly really is hitting me.
The waves start hitting you.
Yes,
like,
of
wow.
this news. And so I ended up texting him, I think I do need you to come home. I called my mother-in-law, Maria Trusa, and I told her. And so she came over to the house, and I said, I feel guilty. I feel bad asking Franco to come home because it's not like there's anything he can do right now. And she said, no, he absolutely needs to be home with you right now.
Right.
She said, don't feel guilty about that. Like, that's where he needs to be. And so Franco at the time, with the business he was doing, he was able to catch a flight back. I think that if not that night, you know, red eye or whatever, it was very early the next morning, but he came right to me. And I think I was just in a state of shock. It was disbelief. It was worry. I was thinking about the kids, and things happened very fast after that.
Okay.
So he came home. The next day, we had an appointment with a surgical oncologist. Everything happened the next day.
Was that
Let's call it
the
Saturday.
doctor? They would just want to make sure everything was ready to go.
We had an appointment with a surgical oncologist to go over options for surgery. We had an appointment with another surgical oncologist, like for a second opinion. What they found was in my left breast. I did not want to have like a double mastectomy. I said, if it's just in the left, I don't want to remove my right breast.
Right.
It was important to me at the time.
Right.
Because I recognized, like, this is, and I didn't think of this word at that time, but it was the right word. Like, this is an amputation that's about to happen. And I don't want my body changed.
Right.
More than it needs to be.
So they suggested both?
They suggested both.
Well, for what reason? Preventative or?
Preventative. I think they just don't know. Yes, preventative. What can happen?
Wow.
I tested negative for the BRCA gene maybe a couple of years before, so this wasn't something I was anticipating. It wasn't something they said
family
you should
history.
do this. I have family history.
Oh, okay.
But it wasn't. But that genetic test wasn't positive for me.
I never heard of the BRCA. What's
So it is a genetic test.
Okay.
And if you're positive for that gene, you are more likely. You're at a higher risk for getting breast cancer.
Okay.
And so if you have that gene, insurance companies will cover preventative measures. So you could they are more likely to cover like a mastectomy in advance. They're more likely to cover like a hysterectomy even if you want to remove those organs to preventatively.
Okay.
And I was, even though I had family history, I was negative. So anyway, all of that was going on. Yeah, I don't remember what your question was.
But
that was the beginning.
But coping with the moment. But like you said, you had to be the mom. You had to get your kids dinner and get everything set up. And while that's creeping up on you on the back of your mind, is there anything other than feeling the numbness before it hit?
Mm-hmm.
It's not something you could prepare yourself for.
No. And I feel that I'm grateful for my doctor, because those words she said to me at that time, she said, "You're going to have a shitty year, but you're going to be okay." And somehow I believe I internalized that. And even my surgical oncologist, they initially said it was stage 1, and that ended up changing through different procedures as the diagnosis was
Right.
made clear. Everyone said, "You're going to be okay. This is going to suck, and you're going to be okay." And so I never had a fear that I wasn't going to make it. I never had a fear that I wasn't going to survive. I recognize now, after, like, what a blessing that was,
Right.
for me to not have gone through that process feeling like, oh my God, I can die at the end of this. I never felt that, and I felt it was a shitty year.
I forgot where I heard that statement, but it's like they like embrace the suck. It's like, all right,
Yes.
here we fucking go.
Yeah. What's the next step? What's the next thing we have to do? And I feel like that's how I moved forward with everything, and that's how I moved forward with Franco. Even was that day, I remember we had all these doctor's appointments. Okay, they're scheduling this. They're scheduling that. The surgery was scheduled. We're planning a vacation. We took a vacation in between when I was having my surgery. My parents flew up from Florida, and they lived with us for this year. They stayed with us, and so we had support for the kids with school. This was on the tail end of COVID, so they were still doing some things remotely, and my parents managed all of that.
We'll definitely
But
get
yeah,
into the support
getting
part
ahead.
of it. Yeah, and that's quite all right. It's
Yeah.
Is there anything particularly that was most challenging from the journey from diagnosis to treatment? Processing, yes, it seems, but let us know how. What are the challenging parts? Because God forbid somebody who's listening to this and says, "Oh shit, I'm starting my journey with this now," and they just diagnosed me. I'm going to treatment. Is it the acceptance part of it? Like, what's the most challenging from diagnosis to starting the treatment?
I was the surgery, because I had surgery first before treatment, before chemo, and that's not everyone's path, but it was mine. And so I was terrified of just the idea of surgery. So, like, as an example, my daughter was born via C-section. And when it became clear that I was going to need a C-section, and I was distraught and very emotional, and my OB was like, "Well, what are you most afraid of?" And I said, "The knife." And she was like, "Well, there's nothing we can do about that, but you're going to be okay, but that was my fear.
Right.
So knowing now what was coming in terms of a knife, and what's happening to my body, that idea was scary. I didn't know at the time the surgery that I did have a double mastectomy. It did become clear that was the right path, because during one of the MRIs that they do before they finalize your treatment plan, they did find suspicious something in my right breast.
Oh, wow.
And it was so far back in my chest cavity.
Yeah.
Biopsy was going to be difficult.
Oh, wow.
And so I said, okay, never mind, I'll move forward with the double. And
there were no other tests that could have indicated anything, but then it may have been thrown off by what they found on the left side.
I don't know the
because I'm sure Frank was probably the type let's go a little deeper, and
yeah.
I don't know if that came out of him while he's having your back with going through this. I mean,
it just wasn't when it hit me that something else was there.
Right.
I saw no reason to wait. I didn't need an extra test.
Okay.
Because it was almost like, okay, if they check there and it's benign, what's going to happen now? I'm going to go through this surgery to have my left breast removed, and then maybe in a year something else could come back. Like, right. It hit me in them finding something that could be like my future. And I said, no, let's just do it all now.
And how important, it just came to me, how important it is for a woman in your position to hold the reins and making the decisions for yourself rather than somebody, if they're just as strong as you and they want to step ahead and say, hey, you know, I got this for you, but then you're a strong woman. So how important it is for a woman who is trying to keep it together to be strong and representing themselves with their medical decisions, when there's been times where there are women who are sidelined with their own medical situations by doctors to say, hey, you know, this is my fucking body.
Oh,
You know, talk to me. Decide with me.
Yeah, it was 1,000% important. And you're in that state where you're getting all this information, and so it's hard even to process what you're receiving. Like, I don't have breast implants. There's another option. I thought going into it, it's either I get breast implants or I would stay flat. They close it up and you have nothing.
Right.
Which some women, that's the right choice for them. There is a third option, which is what I had. And it's where they take your fat from your belly and they use that belly fat to construct breasts.
Right.
And that's what I had. So when my first appointment with a plastic surgeon, he suggested implants. And I said, wait a minute, isn't there... I said, I don't really want implants. I never wanted implants. That was just not something I had ever wanted. And so the idea to me of putting that, like, there's something in my body that doesn't belong there. And so the idea of getting rid of that to put something else in my body that doesn't belong there, it's not natural to my body. I was very confused about that, the idea of that. I couldn't reconcile that. But I also didn't want to have nothing. Right. And when I expressed that to this plastic surgeon, he said, you know, there is an option where they can take your belly fat. And I was like, oh my God, I want to do that. And when I'm a pretty petite person, and he looked and he said, I don't think you have enough fat that we can do this. And I'm, oh my God, here we go again. Okay.
I gotta gain weight? What's going on?
Yes, like, you're giving me this other option and I'm like jumping on it, and then you're telling me I can't do it. And so when I spoke with my surgical oncologist, she said, no, if that's something you want to do, there are other surgeons that I can refer you to who can do it. And so we found a second surgeon he's a microsurgeon, and this is his specialty. And I said, I don't need to be, Dolly Parton. So what I had, he was able to construct, very modest.
And who are these doctors? I mean,
so my surgical oncologist, her name's Alyssa Gallego, and I had treatment out of Greenwich Hospital System. It's the El New Haven Hospital System in Greenwich, Connecticut. The microsurgeon for the breast reconstruction, his name was Dr. Levine, and I'm forgetting his first name, but he works out of the city, and he was excellent. And so, to your question about having control and being able to make these decisions, it's like really choosing between like shitty options. It's not like, hey, here's this wonderful choice here in this terrible situation. It's like, well, here's this terrible choice, and here's this annoying choice, and here's this crappy choice, and all right, now I have to figure out what am I going to do.
Good point.
But being able to have even that much control to say, okay, well, I think this is going to be the best one for me. That was very meaningful to me to be able to do that, and I think even just knowing what questions to ask it's hard, because I didn't know this was something that was out there as an option, and so had I not pretty adamantly said, but I don't want implants. Yeah. Had I just sat there and received this information from this plastic surgeon, I might have gone that route and never knowing. It was only offered to me because I said, but I really don't want to do this. And okay, we can talk about something else. I think that's part of it. I think having even I joined like Facebook groups and things, so there's dialogue in these groups about different people's experiences, and I found that you can go down a rabbit hole sometimes that's maybe not super helpful, but if you can read between lines, you get information from these sites that help you move forward.
How or when during this whole journey you discovered the mental and emotional strength to face and overcome breast cancer, going through all of this, there are certain moments, and maybe hopefully you could key into yours. It says, you know, fuck this, and be as strong as you can at the moment for what you're going through. Do you recognize that moment? Has there been a moment like that?
I think it was, I mean, there were moments, and I think at my hardest moments, I really had to just say to myself, you don't have an option here. You just have to do this. Because my biggest goal was completing treatment. And so in order to get to the end of a completion of treatment, here are all the steps I have to take. And so it was many moments. And I had, can I talk about support? I mean, I had support.
Sure. Yeah, go ahead. That's rolling into kind of like my next two, because it's like, to have that resilience and experience in the moment. So with that, it's like, how and we'll just, how did your diagnosis and treatment impact your relationships with your family, especially your spouse and children? I mean, we'll go, you're the root, and then comes your husband and your kids, and then the rest of your family. So let's start from there.
Yeah, because it's all connected.
Yes.
And so when I had moments where I felt weak and I felt like I can't do this, I had my husband there to support me. I remember one time we were in our house and I went upstairs to my bedroom and he's downstairs, and I just broke down. And I texted him. I said, I need you to come up here now. And he came right up and he just held me and we just cried. I never felt that I had to be strong for everyone. I felt like I was allowed to break down when I needed to, and there was someone there to pick me up.
And what made you want to feel like you had to be strong for everyone? Because was it their love that showed, that made them break down and be like, wait, I'm the one with the cancer. Why are you?
No.
I mean, what was that made you want to, before you broke down yourself, to be strong for others?
I didn't. I think I just had this feeling that in let me think, consider what I'm saying. I think that, like, it was shitty. It was a hard thing to go through. And part of me just accepted that. And so I don't think it was a conscious thought to say, okay, I have to be strong for everybody. It was simply, what's the point of breaking down right now? I can keep it together. And then when I couldn't, I didn't. And I would break down and I would cry. And there was a lot that I had to tolerate and just accept. And again, I had support. I had my parents in the house. You know, if Franco happened to not be there in the moment, my parents were there, to stay with me. Gosh, I don't think of myself as strong, Oscar. I mean, not that I don't think of myself as strong, but I wasn't consciously like, I have to be strong here. Right. It was more like, I can get through this because I have to get through this. It was more that acceptance of that. It wasn't even a determination. It was just, I accepted that this is my path right now, and I have to get through this to get to the other side. And I think that's maybe what on the outside seemed like strength, and to me it was.
Well, people talk
just this acceptance.
People talk love language that can be like a strength language, because you may not have to just sit there and say, I'm going to be strong, but it's like, I'm taking these actions.
Yeah.
It's not your husband doesn't say I love you, but he's like, does the dishes, picks up the dog poop and this and that. Like I said before, he's like, man, if I pick up the crap all over the yarn, oh, my wife loves me.
I do, because I hate doing it, and it's so nice to come and see that it's been done.
So that's what we discovered. There's that love language and there's that strength language. So you are strong.
Thank you.
No.
Yeah.
What roles you feel are most important for family and loved ones to play in supporting you through this journey, and how do you all navigate this together? Now, here we go. Now that I'm sure your kids were too young to actually have to sit down and talk, and then maybe you did that later, or walk us through that, and with your husband, kids, and now everybody in the family.
Yeah.
that support.
Well, the kids, they were too young. They understood that I wasn't well and that I needed rest.
Right.
They understood that I had had surgery, and so I couldn't pick them up. So that was sad for me, like to not be able to carry them. And my son, I think he was about 3 or 4, and so for him it was, I think, hardest for me to not be able to do that. My daughter is very empathetic, and loving, and so I think, and she was a little older, and so I think she more understood, like, okay, mommy needs a little extra care and time to rest.
Like something's not right here, and just show her heart. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's how some of my kids are. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? I remember people sending us. I received flowers. We received food. People came and dropped food off. Someone sent like a charcuterie board, and we all ate dinner. Me and Franco and my parent, like that was our dinner one night. It was just something no one had to worry about, So that I always think of that one thing, and I'm like, that was so supportive, and nothing I ever would have asked for, but so welcome and so appreciated. I know I'm very blessed that my parents were able to come and stay with us for the year. My dad was working remotely at the time, and my mom is retired.
They weren't in the New York area?
They live in Florida.
Oh, okay.
And so they kind of packed up their home and came and lived with us for a year. I think they went back twice in between in the year, for like a week, just to check on the home, and they came back. So I do feel very blessed that we had that, because it was a huge relief to us, to me and Franco, to not have to worry about who's going to take care of the kids. My mom would make dinner, she'd find, okay, what, because your taste change as you're going through chemo and stuff. What can I eat, and what do I really not want to eat? And she was able to accommodate that. We had that, yeah. Franco's job at the time, he had a very flexible schedule, so he was able to come with me to my appointments. I wasn't working at the time. I had stopped working during COVID because, the craziness with kids in school. And so at that time, I left my job. So when this happened, I wasn't working. So I had this luxury of time to recover and heal. And so many things I think that otherwise I wouldn't have recognized as falling into place kind of fell into place for me, and really helped with my recovery. I think people's offer of time was just what I needed, It was, people came to visit. And
it was a good feeling having your parents there. Did you kind of like revert into the daughter, like, mommy and dad and all that? And
I allowed myself to be cared for, and with no pressure. It created a different dynamic between my mom and the kids, because she ended up having to become more disciplinarian than like just fun grandma. But she also has an even closer relationship with them now, because they lived with us.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so you have like trade-offs there, and now when they come visit, she wants to just be fun grandma. And I understand that, and I respect it. So sometimes I may ask for, you're in town, can you babysit? And she might say no, and I have to respect that. It's like, okay, because this is not your role. Like that was you took on that role voluntarily for a long time for us. Yeah, I also had, I was part of a women's program at the time, and so I had an outlet when I was having hard moments. Within Forgive to Live, we have a lot of forms and things that we fill out to process thoughts and emotions and feelings. Yeah. And with this program, there were also kind of forms, not the same forms, but similar concept. And I completed, hundreds of these forms. I'd wake up in the morning and it's like a form of journaling, but like guided journaling, and I hate cancer, and my body has betrayed me, and why is this happening to me, and all these like stories that I had, and I was able to just put pen to paper and get it all out, and then I had this community of women that I could share that with, and they would receive it. They say pain shared is pain divided. You know, darkness shared is darkness divided.
Yeah.
And that was the case for me because I wasn't having to carry it all on my own. I had these outlets to let it out at the time.
Very good to have those outlets. And it's very interesting. You said that if you can touch on that point that you made about when people internalize, say, oh, my body betrayed me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not a doctor or anything with cancer, how it starts and everything, and genetically, environmentally, whatever. Tell us how you got past that and shine light to those that, you know, beat themselves up in multiple ways to think like, oh, my body. And then they get to a point where they can't trust their body. And like, how did you reconcile that?
Oh, man. Oscar, this is something that I still reconcile. And I also have gratitude about it. And so that's my, what is it? Like the inner conflict.
Yeah.
Because...
Walk us through it.
Yeah, because my body, I honor it. I respect it. I take care of it because this body is what helped me to get through cancer. This body healed me. You know, it received chemotherapy and I healed through that and behind it. And also, you know, sometimes even now I look in the mirror and I'm like, I have to remind myself that, you know, this is what you look like now. And sometimes it's hard to see. And I remind myself, thank you, body, for getting us through this. Thank you, body. Thank you for everything that you do. Thank you for my legs. Thank you for my arm. You know, because the thought of, I almost feel like I'm betraying my body when I have that thought that it betrayed me. And I don't want, and it's just not true to me.
Right.
And so I guess the reconciliation is also having the gratitude. Gratitude is what has pulled me through that.
Right.
It's been the gratitude, and I recognize. And again, this is not, oh, it's finished.
Yeah.
Because my body is forever changed. You know, maybe one it will happen where I can truly look and just say, okay, yes, this is me. And some days I have that, some moments, and there's still moments where I look and I'm like, you know, I do miss what was there before. And if I'm feeling a little too down about it, I always go back to gratitude because this body is gonna keep me going forward.
Right.
And so no, but I'm not gonna allow myself to wallow in these negative thoughts about you, body. Because you're better than that. My body's better than that and better than those dark thoughts. I'm grateful for it and it's gonna continue to sustain me. Yeah.
Further proof that you're strong. That inner strength.
Thank you.
What self-care practices did you adopt during your treatment and how did they help you in your healing process?
Yeah. Well, I meditated daily and I worked out as soon as I was able to. I'm a person who, like, fitness is part of my lifestyle. And it's been that way for, I don't know, maybe like 15 years now. This is years. Yeah, since I was married to Franco. That it became part of my habits as well. And so, you know, after surgery, you cannot work out. But I was able to walk. And as soon as they said, okay, yes, you can walk, I said, all right, let's go. I went outside and I walked a half a block and I came back. Great. I'm on my way. And so that was just important to me. And I think even my first workout that I did, which was, you know, something very basic, but my mom recorded me doing it because she was so,
Nice.
I think, in disbelief, like, that I was doing. And I'm like, no, I can't. This is part of my lifestyle. So I didn't adopt that, but I maintained it. It was almost like I needed that for me and I felt good. I remember the doctors saying, you know, you don't want to be too sedentary. Like, you want to move your body.
Yeah.
And so I said, okay, if you want me to do it, I'm going to do it. When we're talking about what do I have to do, this was like someone told me, okay, you have to do this as part of your healing. Okay, I'm going to do it. That's the next thing. That's the next thing. I also was getting physical therapy because once you have that surgery, you can't like lift your arms up. Like all of that is you have to, your body has to become accustomed to it again.
The area, yeah.
Because of the area up top. So I couldn't like go into the microwave. There were things like I had to ask for help.
Oh, fancy high microwave.
Oh man. Well, it's up top. It's not on the counter. It's above the stove. Even to like grab a coffee cup, I couldn't lift my arms.
Wow. That must have been frustrating.
So frustrating. And I had to ask for help. You know, sometimes, my parents and Franco would see me going for something, they would just go get it. And other times it was like, you have to ask for help. And so it was very humbling, that was.
How many moments you had it was like, damn it, I got it.
Oh,
or you... that pull
that
to
was
just
frustrating.
like
To recognize like, oh my god, I can't get a cup. Somebody come help me get a cup. Like,
do they have to? Do you talk yourself down from that frustration, or do you get so like Franco or your parents or someone else will say, hey, look, and try and pull you out of that frustration? How did you manage that?
I think my parents were really more like anticipatory. They saw and they just did. And Franco was more, well, he did do that as well. But he was also more likely to say, hey, do you need help? He would ask instead of just doing. And it's at different points saying like, it's okay to ask. If you need something, you have to ask. How are we going to know?
Right.
And I would get mad at him sometimes. Like, don't you see, that I need something?
Yeah.
And I would feel resentful in different moments over that. But I think his point was just to have me recognize, like, it's okay to ask for help, and there may be a time where we can't anticipate. And so you can't be afraid or too proud to ask. Right. And so I understood his point with it. It didn't change the fact that, that it was annoying, depending what were the circumstances. But it's very humbling to have to ask. And I know other people who've been through different surgeries and different things. When you're going through recovery, it's like you have to take a step back and you have to be willing to ask for help because you don't want to impact your recovery negatively if you're trying to do things that doctors are telling you not to do.
Because a lot of people don't see themselves in that position. They're the ones that are helping those in that position. Yeah. And it's like, okay.
Yes.
Oh, shit. Like, all right. I have to be a little less strong and
I have to
ask.
Yeah, I can't be the one who's managing the house. I have to sit back and I have to receive and be okay with that.
Now, to help others understand when they're going through something like this or helping others going through something like this, touch on how do you continue to prioritize your mental and physical well-being now that you're in remission?
Now? Well...
now that you're past
like today.
All that. Yeah, like today.
Today, yeah. I continue to meditate routinely. I strive for daily. It's not always daily. The same with working out.
But it's essential that you're prioritizing all of this because a lot of people would tumble that with just... oh, something came up with the kid. I deal with that a lot.
Yeah.
If we like with my Crohn's, like how we discussed earlier and all that. But if something would come up and I'm like, oh, fuck. I had all of this planned to center myself and to do something healthy, self-care. But then, oh, shit, I forgot a meeting we have for the kids or the school or the early pickup. One of them is sick.
Yeah.
And how do you force that priority to be like, I'm doing this. Do you have any tips?
My biggest tip is to do everything in the morning, which is like very cliche now, right?
Oh no, yeah, we do a lot of stuff in the morning.
That's it because I get up at 5 a.m. I strive to get up at 5 a.m. My non-negotiable is actually working out. And so I try to do habit stacking. The latest I'll wake up to work out is 5:30. If I wake up at 5:30, then I may not have time to meditate and journal and do some other things. If I wake up at 5, then I do. But the workout has become non-negotiable for me. I don't know where this comes from. I wish I had some true words of wisdom about it. I think the way that I was raised was really you have things you have to do. And I see this now with my mom, and I saw it with her during this, where it's almost that same attitude of, okay, what's next? These are the things that need to be done.
Yeah.
And I feel like because I was raised with that, like witnessing it.
Yeah.
And now having developed this habit of working out every day, I'm telling you, 15 years. This is not a year that I was working out and then this happened. So because that was already my habit and already part of my lifestyle, now getting up early and making sure I get it done, it's like second nature to me. And that's the way it gets done. And I also don't beat myself up about it. Like, consistent for me is 4 to 5 days a week. If it's 3 days this week, I don't beat myself up about that. Hey, I happened to wake up at 6. I slept in. Okay, no problem. I'm getting up and I'm getting ready for work now. Now there's no workout. Tomorrow I'm going to get up and work out. And that, I think that has also been helpful. So the consistency is not like, okay, I have to do this 7 days a week. The consistency for me is weekly I'm doing some kind of workout. And some weeks I may do it 5 to 7 days. And some weeks that's going to be 2 to 3. And if I see, okay, this week I didn't work out. There's vacations that happen. Okay, I didn't work out this week. After the vacation, all right, I'm going to get up early and I'm going to do it. And I don't worry about that week. It's, all right, I'm going to continue now. So I think part of that is, for me, is what I experience consistency to be.
Flexible goals.
It's flexible goals, and there's no reason to stop. I think that's maybe part of it. Like, I don't see it as, okay, I stopped. Okay, now why am I going to start again? No, I'm going to start again. I don't have to think about it.
What have you learned about yourself through your experience with breast cancer and the mastectomies?
Well, I have learned that I have more strength than I ever thought that I did. I learned that my tolerance for pain and for discomfort is actually very high, and higher than I ever would have thought. I would have been someone who said before, like, I have a very low tolerance for pain. Well, I don't say that anymore. I think my tolerance, I know now that my tolerance for pain is very high, and I didn't know that about myself before. I think
because you do have a what do you got kind of look in your face, like, yeah, what do you got?
I know.
Yeah, look what I've been through. What do you got? And that is not a face of, it's a face of experience.
I learned that there really is nothing that I cannot overcome, because there's no reason why I couldn't. You know, like, my capacity, I learned that my capacity is so much bigger than I even need to contemplate right now. Because when the time came that was tested, there were no choices to be made from me. It was, what's the next thing I have to do? So when I have hard moments, I go back to that basic concept. Okay, what's the next thing that I can control right now? What's the next thing that I can do that's going to be meaningful here? Yeah, and that's what I've learned.
I know Frank is probably laughing right now because, you know, I has issues with the what's next. Because RG's a big proponent of what's next. That's why it's like in the same vein, and I'm like, I'm a guy, I'm like, what's next is, what second is it, you know?
But that's part of it.
Absolutely, and I'm learning that, and I'm adjusting to it, and it's like, it doesn't bother me anymore, because you know what, like, what the fuck is next? It's like, let's get to it. You know, which is the reason why I restarted everything, and I wanted to have you on and discuss, because it's like, I didn't see the other side of the coin with that. You hear people I have people who had cancer in my family, but didn't see them through the journey as closely as this, and it brings about a new perspective, because if somebody who is listening to this says, oh, and they finally see somebody who's going through it, oh shit, I know what to do, and that's what I want to do. It's bring that out and, you know, have your experiences embolden and strengthen them to be like, you know what, fuck, they got this, and let's see what's next for them. Yeah,
and you know, and everyone's journey is different, and I give people grace for that as well. You know, this is just what my experience was, because it's a lot. It's a lot emotionally. It's a lot physically. It's a lot, like, operationally, you know, when you think of a person who is working and is not having someone move in with them to take care of their children. If you have kids, you know, there's so many facets and things that pop up. But I think emotionally for me, just focusing on, okay, what's the next thing, is what made each piece easier to tolerate and like get through.
That's a good point.
It was okay. There's an end game here. I knew I had 16 rounds of chemo, and then behind that, I think it was 10 or 12 rounds of radiation. It's just like there was a plan that was far out before it was going to be over. And okay, here's the first chemo treatment. Even with the treatment that I had the first round, it was 4 treatments of like the hardest, I think it's called ACT. And it's like one that has the most severe side effects. And then behind that was 12 of one that had less severe side effects. Right. You know, we asked my oncologist, which one, does it matter what order I do it in? Because he was going to give me the 12 first and then the 4, which were the hardest. And I said, no, I want to do the hardest ones first. I want to get them out of the way.
In your personality, that's the way how you face things, or
I wanted to get the hardest things done first. Then I don't have to anticipate it. Yeah. You know, let's get the hardest things done first.
Is that how you do things, or is that when you saw the situation? No, fuck it, let's get the hard things out the way. Or do you always do that?
I don't know. I guess I never thought about it. No, I don't think I do that in general. I think in my life, I have my moments where I procrastinate, and it's not like I do everything that way. But knowing it was gonna be very hard, it was like, no, this has to get done first. If I have a choice, and I did, and I didn't know until I asked. But it was like, no, if I have a choice, I want to get that hardest thing out of the way. And before we go forward, I can't think of anything in this moment. I imagine there are things in my life otherwise that I do that way, but I wouldn't say I do everything that way.
And then that's quite all right.
Yeah.
How has this journey influenced your perspective on life? And I know you touched on a little things here and there. And what personal growth have you experienced as a result?
Yeah. Something that I appreciate my health more now. So when I think of like my life, I don't take things for granted in my body. We did have recently a friend who passed away from breast cancer. And this is within the last 2 months. And when she passed, that was really the first time in my heart that I was like, oh my God, my journey could have been different. Because now, remember, everything else, I never had that thought. Very grateful that I didn't. But it was after that I had that thought, wow, this could have been very different. And so I almost even want to say like her, this happening to her is what gave me more clarity and more perspective on, my life, and being more grateful for it. Really. And not that I didn't. I am grateful for my life, and I always was. And I have been. That happening really was like, oh my God, this is...
Oh yeah, there's a lot of shining moments, yeah.
Yeah, so that's something. What was the other part of your question?
The personal growth that you've experienced as a result. Yeah. Like, it will change your perspective, and then personal growth.
I think I was already on a personal growth journey.
Prior to the diagnosis?
To the diagnosis.
Okay.
Like, personal growth is one of, my family's values. Me and Franco and I. And so I don't feel like this happened and now I had this growth. I feel like I am growing, and this was part of that. This was part of my journey of personal growth. Again, I now know that I have a bigger capacity. Your wife reminded me, because I have personal things happening now.
Right.
And she reminded me that I am strong and that I can handle, whatever I need to handle. And I can do it on my own if I need to, and I don't have to do it on my own. Yeah, I think that's part of something that I have a bigger capacity than than I remember in any given day. And so when things are hard, I it's something I have to remind myself of, because I did persevere and grow through this my cancer journey.
What have been some of your proudest moments or triumphs as a survivor? Is there anything that sticks out that it's a moment and you're never gonna forget that?
Yeah, my last chemo treatment happened on my birthday. I believe I turned 42, if that math is working out. I'm 45. Yeah, so I was 42 on the day of my last cancer treatment.
Wrong person to ask about math. So.
Yeah. Yeah, and so I had a mug that someone had given me, and it said, "I will smash this mug when on my last day of chemo." Something to that effect. It said it on there. This is my cancer mug, and I'm gonna smash the shit out of it on my last day of chemo. It was like, that's what it was for. And so I have a video of me smashing this mug on my last day of treatment, which happened to fall on my birthday, and smash the shit out of that mug.
Should have thrown it against the fucking bell.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And I have also that memory of being in the in the hospital, in the treatment center, and all the nurses came and they gave me a gift, and I had great nurses throughout, and so I like remember that from them, and it was that was very emotional, to know, okay, this is done, like I did it. I did this hardest piece of this treatment journey. Yeah.
That's a very good point, because it's one of the reasons why I'm doing my best to secure an interview with the surgeon who helped Brandon through his injury for his leg. The medical professionals that walk people through this, that walk families through this. Tell us about them. Tell us about how it's important to have a good supporting medical staff that helps you through it, but also how people need to reflect kindly on them, because people don't always ask, how are you going through this, helping others going through something so life-affecting? The nurses, care team. It's normally them. The doctors are, at another situation and everything. But them as well, they're boots on the ground in the hospitals.
So many stories and examples, and I've not been in, I didn't keep in touch with these nurses. So on the day of my mastectomy, Franco was in the room with me, and we weren't expecting that because it was still COVID times, but it ended up that he was able to be in the room with me. Maria, my mother-in-law, had gotten her pastor to do like a prayer service, a Zoom prayer service for me. And so I was in the room, the nurse was in there. Franco and I got to participate on this Zoom call. No one knew I was going to be on it. We didn't know I was going to be on it, but I happened to be there, and I got to hear her pastor give me these beautiful words. And he said that my cancer journey was my marathon. He said, this is a marathon, and it's going to be a long journey, and you're going to win at the end. And so we had a nurse in there who got to witness this with us. And so fast forward, I think a year, this happened in January, so I think maybe November or October, I ended up having a full hysterectomy also. And so when I go into the room, Franco was there with me, and the nurse, it was the same nurse.
Wow.
And she was in there, and she's like, I remember that beautiful prayer service that you guys had. She remembered me. And I was like, oh my God. And that was like one of the last big surgery I had. I'm like, wow, to come full circle and have the same, beautiful person in here. And to remember us and our story and this experience with the pastor. So that was really cool. I had to have a port put in. A port. Because that's where they stick you for to put the chemo in.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't know that was going to be it's like a surgical procedure. So everyone is like, oh yeah, you're going to go here. We'll schedule you for your port. And I'm thinking, no big deal. I'm going into the radiation office. They're going to I didn't know what was happening. But then it's like, nope, they put me in a gown. I'm going into an exam room, and I was freaking out. I was so scared because I wasn't even expecting it. I'm like, nobody told me this was like a full-blown surgical procedure. And they gave me an IV, and they didn't knock me out, but they put something there to chill you out.
Yeah.
And so I'm in there, I'm on the table, and I'm just crying. And there was a nurse in there, and she held my hand. And she's like, "You're okay. You're in a safe place. And, you're going to be all right. They know what they're doing." And she just she was just there, and she just comforted me.
Yeah.
Like, to be able to do that, I think is, like, you don't even think of, it's not the care, it's like the humanity.
Exactly.
You're remembering there's a person on this table, and that was so meaningful. When I had my mastectomy, I had to be in the hospital for 4 days. I think it ended up being 3. And I was not allowed visitors, again, because of COVID. So there was one evening where I just got overwhelmed, and I'm just in the room crying, and one of the nurses happened to walk in, and she saw me, and I couldn't even control myself. And she just came, and she just gave me a hug, and she said, "What's going on?" I said, I don't know. I'm just so upset. And she's like, "Why didn't you call us? Like, someone could have come in. I would have come. Like, you can call us for anything.
Right.
Don't feel like you can't call. You don't have to go through this by yourself." So that was very special. So I think, like, out of all of my experiences, like, this is what I remember. It's just that humanity of these nurses, even the surgeons who were like, "Okay, we got you, and this is hard, yes, and we know it, and it's okay for you to not be strong in here, and it's okay for you to cry in here, and we still got you."
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, you're making me remember.
and that's awesome, because it shows their humanity, and it does kind of suck when you do have someone who doesn't give that level of care.
Yeah.
Doesn't really they understand what you're going through, but to not show the right amount of compassion with what you're going, because I've had I want to say terrible, I would just say their focus wasn't in the right place. And I've had some that went above and beyond.
Yeah.
And just like how you said, it makes a difference. It makes a difference, because when you're on that side of the coin, and you end up sometimes not feeling, you feel helpless. You feel like, oh shit, my life is going to go this way. It's never going to be the same. I should have appreciated what I was able to do, having 2 legs, even using the bathroom properly, this and that, and all these other little things. Yeah. And when Brandon was in the hospital, to see what other parents were going through, and it's in my head, I'm like, shit, this isn't so bad. Yeah. It isn't. I mean, there was a child in there.
It's the gratitude.
Big time, big time.
Yeah.
He had Brandon's same birthday. Same birthday. They're in the hospital at the same time. This kid got run over by a truck. The truck didn't even stop.
Oh, my God.
He was in there for months. And I'm like, I look at him, and then I'm like, you're going to be all right. You're going to be all right. We're here for you. And it's with that support. Yeah. People were wondering, like, why aren't you freaking out? Why aren't you spazzing out? Why aren't you this or that? And I think I either told Ben or Franco this, but I tell people, I was like, I don't need to. And like, why? I said, 6 inches. So what do you mean? You've ridden in a mule. It flipped over on its side, on the passenger side, and it has a roll cage. Yep. And I tell people, or I've told a few people, I said 6 inches, because if there was about a 6-inch difference, because he's almost my height, and I'm 5'11", I said, instead of being there supporting him through his healing process and being his support through what he's going through and how you had your support, I said, I would have been planning a funeral. Trust me, I am grateful. He's gonna he did make a full recovery. He's still dealing with little things here and there, but we're working through it. But it's like, I got my son, and then I see that, and then all the stuff I went through when I being hospitalized, seeing how all the stuff you're talking to, and all the stuff you're talking about is, I had you saying, I have me. That's the same thing. It's like, I have me. I have my son who went through his thing. Argie's gone through her thing. I have other family members who and it's like that gratitude, and seeing others who've been in the hospital for like 6 months, going through a kid with chemo, and God, what they're going through, and I'm like, God bless them, because that's a level of strength that it may sound wrong, but it's like I never want to go through.
Yeah.
And if
And
I
it's,
do, I'm sure I want to find podcasts like this that show, what, tell me, how did you do it?
yeah. And it's not to take away from like Brandon's experience, because it
Right.
was a terrible
Right.
accident, and it was hard for him, and it was hard for you guys, I
Yeah.
imagine. So I don't feel like having like that bigger picture to say
Yeah.
it could have been worse
Right.
takes away from
Oh
the
no,
pain and
we
your
had our
own struggle.
moments, yeah.
Yeah,
When
like
we
you're
got
still
back,
allowed to feel what you feel
yeah.
in it, and you can also say, and I recognize this could have been worse, and while this is hard, I'm still grateful. Like, this is my hard.
Right. It's like that. I always go back to that Dave
Mm-hmm.
Chappelle joke. It's like, oh, there's people starving in Africa. He's like, well, but I still get hungry.
You still get, yes,
Yeah, I
yes.
still get hungry. I may not be
Yeah.
starving with like 10,000 other people, but
Yeah.
I'm still hungry too.
Yes,
You know?
yes, it's true. Like, I know side effects from chemo and from medication, because I'm still on medication now, it's tough, your body is bad, you're sleeping, you can't eat, you're nauseous. But I always felt like I knew people actively. Ben's wife, she had terrible side effects from medication, joint pain, and I think she had an allergy to some medication. Like,
That's right. You guys went through it at the same time.
we did. And
Laura. Yeah.
with Laura. And so, I would hear some of the terrible side effects she was having. And so while I had my side effects, it was like even this, it could be worse. And I would pray for her, because I'm like, it's like, to hear different people's struggles, it's like, it's tough. Even that made me grateful. Like, okay, this is my heart. I'm nauseous. Okay, but I didn't throw up. I didn't throw up today. This is, I'm extremely exhausted, and I don't have to get up and go to work. I can lay in the bed today, because I know my parents are taking care of the kids. I know Franco's taking care of the kids. So it was like I was grateful for my heart. And I was okay with that.
That's amazing, and for people listening, like, it's okay. It's okay. There's varying degrees, there's very different levels and everything, but the gratitude, the understanding, and working through it, I think you're pointing that out amazingly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw it real time. Like you saying, you saw it real time. You're
Mhm.
in there and you're dealing with this, and you have this other perspective actively, and that helps keep you focused on your own situation, and focused on, okay, being able to have gratitude and understanding, like, all right, and we can get through this.
Man, it's like, and sitting in that emergency room at the hospital at Westchester Medical, the Maria Ferry hospital. Man, you don't want, as a parent, you don't want to sit in that emergency room, because we're sitting down, we're waiting for him to get admitted and get checked out, because things kind of amped up a little bit from coming from Vermont to back to New York.
Yeah.
And we're sitting there, and we overhear like, oh, kid coming in, he fell through a roof on a 2-story structure, and I fell on concrete, and I'm like, fuck. And then another thing, and I'm like,
Well, that's a trauma. They're a trauma center.
yeah, I'm looking at the
children's
trauma
hospital.
for children.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
looking at these guys, and they're just laser focused, and I'm like, wow, you turn into a different breed, and God bless them.
Yeah.
It takes a different type of person to act to go through that. And so it's like on both sides, a person to go through their journey and what they're experiencing, and those in support of them in the medical aspect, and then the family, and how they came through, and touching on all those. It's amazing on what a person should hopefully have if, God forbid, they go through it. Which leads me to my next question. What advice would you give to others that are either lacking or seeking support, when they're trying to see what their support network and that foundation, how is it going to be there for them?
I would say, don't be afraid to ask for help, and be specific with what it is that you need. Honestly, go on to some of these pages through Facebook, these support pages, these groups, and ask people, what is their experience? What did you need when you were going through this? if you need childcare, you need a babysitter, who can you ask? Even if you think these people will say no, maybe they say no today because they can't, and maybe next time, now they know this is help that you need in general, and maybe they'd be able to offer it later on. Because I know it's hard for people to know even what to offer. I did find that people were very willing to help me but I had to know what to ask for. Because people very often, they say, okay, whatever you need, let me know.
That's not a blank check.
Yeah, and it's like, you don't even know how to respond to that. Like, am I really going to call you if I need a babysitter? Well, maybe you can, maybe you can. Especially if you have people who are offering to help,
right?
You hit those people up first and say, here's what you need. And the worst they're going to say is no. And then you're not worse off than you were in the first place.
Yeah.
And you graciously accept a no if somebody can't. But I think that's part of I think that'd be like the biggest advice. That's even advice I need to take now in my life.
What are any hopes and aspirations for the future from a survivor's perspective, and if you do any advocating for breast cancer awareness?
I actually don't.
And that's okay. We want to make sure that everybody knows that if you don't, you don't.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, they shoot for the moon, and they're, joining organizations and everything, and it's okay, yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't my path. I mean, I donate, but I'm like I think that goes back to just my personality of being more reserved and on the sidelines. So my hopes and aspirations, well, my hope and my constant prayer is to not have a recurrence. And I mean, that's my biggest thing. I pray, if not daily, like almost daily, for my health. I thank God for my health, for my longevity, for my long, healthy life with my family, for my healed body. I thank my body for eradicating our cancer. And I heard that word once, and I was like, that's the word. I said, thank you, body, for eradicating our cancer. I've read somewhere that, at any point, people can have cancerous cells in their body, and your body attacks them. And the ones that your body is not able to fight, those are the ones that grow, and then now you need treatment and you find. But you can have cancer in your body other than that and not know and never know, because your body eradicates it. And so I always thank my body for eradicating our cancer. And I leave it open-ended and not specific to a time, because I am healed and my cancer is eradicated. And those are like my constant prayers, when I wake up or before I go to bed, for my health, my family's health. Yeah.
And lastly, has the discussion come back up with your children? Is there something you shed light on with how, mommy's been through this, and you kind of, a soft sense, let them know it's like, okay, this is what mommy's been through, and we're trying to make sure it doesn't come back. And how do you step to the kids and say, give them this type of awareness so that...
Well, so we have a 9-year-old daughter and a 7-year-old son. Both kids have seen me naked. So they have at different times asked questions about like my scars. And so I would say that's the thought that came to me when you're asking this. That's when it will come up. Right. Oh, mommy, why do you have that scar on your belly? Oh, I had cancer in my breast. The doctors removed it, and they used, the fat from my belly to give me my breast that I have now. And so I feel like it's not super prominent anymore other than that. And I don't hide it from them.
Right.
We're very open in my house. So if they see it, they see it. And to the point where questions really aren't asked too much anymore. Every so often I see them looking, and I'll ask, do you have any questions? But it's not something that's super prominent. I don't know if this is worth mentioning. Our dog has cancer now. He's not going to be with us for too much longer. The kids know that he has cancer. And so I feel like when it's come up now sideways
Right.
is when we have to go back and say the doctors that were not able to remove his cancer. You know, thank God they were able to remove mine. And that's how I tie it back, because I don't want that fear to come to them like, oh my
Right.
God, just because somebody has this, it means this is the outcome. It doesn't. The reason this is the outcome for, or will be the outcome for our dog, is because the doctors are not able to to remove his cancer. So they knew I had cancer. We didn't shy away from that word with them. And that was based on advice given to us from the nurses and things. You know, you don't want to say mommy's sick. What does sick mean to a kid? Like, you want to be specific so that they're not thinking, hey, I have a cold later on and now something terrible is going to happen. Yeah, you know, we use that word. So I think it comes sideways in different ways like that. But we don't have too many questions from them anymore.
And you guys prepared yourself, or had you had to deal with them, like I said, coming to you with a question like, or not a question, but it's like, oh, mommy, I don't want to lose you. And have you guys prepared yourself for that? And how would you handle something like that, should that come up?
I don't know. I think nobody knows, you know, when death is going to come for them.
Right. But I guess it's like maybe soothing their anxiety. And you're lucky you haven't gone through that. I don't know if I've gotten. I know one of my children would be like how bad is Crohn's? And I'm like, it can be bad. Yeah. It can be very bad. But says luckily I'm like right there at the middle to lower. And if I take care of myself, it won't get any worse. And having that kind of discussion, because it was a curiosity. And luckily I didn't have to deal with the full-blown, I don't want to lose you, you know, type of deal. And then I thought to myself, like, how would I handle that? I guess that's just the position I was in. And I don't know. It's just, it's something that I ask because some people do prepare themselves for that type of question to maybe answer it in a certain way at that point. And others, I guess, they deal with it when it comes.
Yeah, I don't have an answer for that. I don't know what we would tell them. I mean, we are trying to prepare them now for our dog, and I think my daughter has a better understanding than my son does. She is very vocal with her emotions, whereas he holds them in a little bit, and he expresses them in other ways. And so, for me, like, a challenge has been trying to be mindful. You know, he may cry, and then he may act out, or he may climb in the bed with us. You know, and I'm trying to prepare myself for that. He may need care in a different way, whereas my daughter, we can talk to her logically and express things to her, and she's gonna express herself back to us. I think we may tell him the words, and he may cry and not know how to fully express himself, and then his actions will show that there's something going on internally. And I think that's, you know, we're talking about it now, so now I'm thinking about it. Like, that's what I'm going to have to be prepared for with him. But in terms of me and my health, like, I'm in good health. I don't talk to them about fears that I have of it coming back. I try to reject those thoughts if they ever come to me. Right. Because I can't live there. My brain can't live there. My thoughts can't live there. Right. Like, I'm healthy. Thank you, God, for my health. This is where I am now. That can drive you crazy. Oh, yeah.
And finally, future family goals that you guys have for yourselves. And this is almost like, do you feel like, you know, second chances? And are you guys saying, you know what, this is what we have planned. This is what's next on the positive side of mommy's here, family's here. Let's rock this out. And did it change your perspective on the goals that you do for your family to be like, we're living this shit to the wheels come off?
I think what I experience is just trying to be present. I think Franco is more like trying to get us to, and me and the kids, like, to focus on, like, okay, what are our 5-year goals? What are our 10-year goals? I think I'm more in the present and in the moment. Or even when I think of these goals, I'm like, what vacation can we take next year? Not like truly big aspirational goals. Like, I want my kids to be happy. I want them to have friends. I want them to know that no matter what, I will love them, and they can come to me with anything. Those are like my big goals for my family. Really.
Have those same parent goals,
You know, and in terms of my husband, like our big goals are, once our kids are grown and independent, you know, that we're gonna travel and get what is it, a Winnebago or something, an RV, and we're gonna travel the country and
Nice.
maybe go to another country and rent one of these things for a year and just travel. Like, I think that's what like my big visions are
That's awesome.
for our future, for like some of the businesses that he has going on to be so successful, and that maybe I can help him with them and have a different career path where I could have these trips and still us be working and have our income and be able to support that kind of a lifestyle. That's what I envision.
Awesome. Ili, thank you very much for being on the show and talking about your journey. And you did great.
Oh,
you did
thank
awesome.
you. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you for these questions. Very good questions.
Thank you.
Helped me remember a lot of things that I haven't thought of in a while. But remembering that this journey has been very good for me too.
Awesome.
Thank you, Oscar.
So thank you everyone for another episode of FYI I Am Damaged. If you know somebody who has any sort of experiences, mental strength lessons, and would love to be on the show, let us know. Adelante, siempre por tu mente. Forward, always for your mind. Love you all. Bye.